What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Logical Response. Hey, look, we got a lot to get into today, so I'm just going to go ahead and just jump right into this because we got a lot to get into. Check this out, y'all. This is nuts. Harris campaign's record $1 billion funds fails to translate into swing state advantage. That is right. That blew my mind when I saw that number. $1 billion. She's really raised $1 billion for this election cycle, right? That's not Joe Biden's money because that money is still tied up in litigation. Where is all this money coming from, right? The Democrat Party has proven themselves to be the corporate party now, right? It used to be, or quote unquote, was the little guy, the poor people's, the blue collar party, if you will. Not anymore, folks. They're not the party of the union anymore. This election cycle has absolutely proven that, with so many of these unions not endorsing anybody because their union members are backing Trump. So they're not going to endorse the Democrat, which is who they traditionally endorse. There's been a couple of these. It's mind-blowing, y'all. Let's get into this, though, because like I said, we got a lot to get into. And my rantings can turn into, like my last video, freaking 30 minutes. Kamala Harris's campaign has raised a record-breaking $1 billion within 80 days of her becoming the Democrats' nominee, yet has failed to translate her cash advantage over Donald Trump into a poll advantage in the key battleground states that will probably decide the election. The vice president's fundraising haul, first reported by NBC, dwarfs the $309 million raised by Trump's campaign by the end of August and equals the amount brought in by Joe Biden for his entire 2020 campaign. That's insane, y'all. That is outright insane amounts of money. But Democrats' joy over the bounty is being tempered by a lack of evidence that is giving her the edge she will need in the battleground states to win enough of them to affect the election outcome in her favor. In the latest warning sign for the vice president, a Quinnipiac University poll published on Wednesday showed her trailing Trump by 2 and 3 points respectively in Wisconsin and Michigan states, which, along with Pennsylvania, Democrats have labeled the blue wall. That is nuts. I can't believe that Trump in this Quinnipiac poll is ahead of Harris in Wisconsin and Michigan. Quinnipiac usually has a strong Democrat bias, y'all. That one blew my freaking mind. There were some other polls come out that shows Trump up significantly in Pennsylvania. This one didn't, but we know he's up in the betting markets, which is real time, people pretty much guessing on who they think is going to win. That tells you a lot more than a poll, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. The survey showed Trump ahead by 48 to 46% in Wisconsin and 50 to 47% in Michigan. Harris has a narrow lead in most nationwide polls. Harris maintains a 3-point advantage in Pennsylvania, according to Quinnipiac, as Barack Obama arrives in the state to campaign for Harris. The former president will headline a Thursday rally in Pittsburgh, where he is expected to urge naturally pro-Democrat voters to turn out for the November 5th poll. Paradoxically, there are fears that Harris's fundraising success may lead to cash drying up when it matters most by dampening the enthusiasm of donors to give the extra funds that strategists believe might be necessary to get her over the line in a tightening race. That, to me, says a whole lot. I saw a couple of videos of Barack Obama getting out there saying, yeah, we need some more enthusiasm for the black men. They seem to be apathetic about this. And I'm like, yeah, because they know Trump is way better. They don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, not because she's a woman. I don't know if you guys have seen some of these ridiculous ads of, oh, well, you better be a man and vote for a woman. There's been 3 of those I've seen. It's come on. People aren't that bigoted. It's not the fact that she's a woman, for crying out loud. Hey, think about it. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2016. What the are y'all talking about? We had that video the other day. As a matter of fact,
guys are smarter than girls. You got some serious problems. That's what frustrates me. There are going to be some males in our society that will refuse to vote for a potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. We could line all those guys up and shoot them. They clearly don't understand the way the world works. Did I say that? Scratch that from the recording. I don't want the deans hearing that I said that.
Yes. The guy's like, what? Like, did we all forget that Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump in the popular vote by 3 million votes? Well, 2.5 million. Sorry. 2.5 million votes. Yes. Like, so what, this whole crap about you gotta be a man and vote for a woman. No, it's because she's garbage. It's not because she's a woman. Y'all are crazy, man. Y'all are just outright crazy to think that people don't want to vote for her just because she's a woman. But let's get into some good news. Check this out, y'all. Election tilts toward Trump as suspicions grow that some polls may be masking true size of his lead. This is an interesting article, y'all. Check this out. A string of polls from legacy outfits have pointed to a shift toward former President Donald Trump in most of the major battleground states, while Vice President Harris maintains a national lead. But some analysts see a critical disconnect between state and national polling that could suggest the Republican is on even stronger footing. Yes, we all know the biases of these polls. You go and Google search this. A simple Google search can show this. Like 2020, the biases in swing states was 5 to 7%. In other words, what the polls showed and what the turnout actually was 5 to 7% in favor of Democrats. In 2016, it was, I think, 4 to 6%. That's right, Democrat favored. So, yeah, we know there's a bias in these polls. So if you look at the current polling, right, like that last article talking about Harris is up by 3%. Well, that's a battleground state. And if we go with the traditional bias of these polls, that means Trump is up by upwards of 2 to 3 points. Hang on now. That's what they're saying here, I believe. Harris currently leads Trump by 2% in the Real Clear Politics polling average, while with 49.1% support to his 47.1% support. That figure includes a Rasmussen Report survey showing Trump with a 2-point lead, a Reuters iPost survey showing Harris up 2, a Morning Consult poll with Harris up 5, a Yahoo News poll with the race tied, and a number of other surveys. A New York College Times Siena, I screwed that all up, survey showed Harris up 3 points. But pollsters have pointed to an apparent disconnect between state and national level polls, with state level surveys increasingly shifting towards Trump, while Harris seemingly holds steady at the national level. They have further observed 2 consistent patterns of national polling that appear to vary widely due to methodology. Dominating headlines this week was a bombshell Quinnipiac University survey, which is typically favored to Democrats, that showed Trump leading by 2% in Wisconsin and 3% in Michigan. Then we just covered that. The Harris post-debate starburst dims to a glow as Harris enters the last weeks, slipping slightly in the Rust Belt, Quinnipiac University polling analyst Tim Malloy wrote. Far from an outlier, other surveys have followed those results, showing Trump either tied or leading Harris in those battlegrounds. A survey from the Hill Emerson College, for instance, showed the Michigan race tied at 49% each. That survey found the same result in Wisconsin. Polling averages currently show Trump poised to take Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Arizona. Harris, for her part, holds narrow leads in Minnesota and Nevada. Should such results hold, Trump would handily carry the Electoral College, barring major upsets. The campaign released its own internal polling in a Thursday memo showing Trump winning all 7 of the key battleground states it tracked. Now, look, this is very good news for Donald Trump. right? He's up in the polling. He's doing really good in like poly market and predicted and all that. The betting odds. He's doing really well. He's up like 7% in the betting odds right now. But don't forget, guys, we have the shadow campaign. I talk about this all the time. So if you're new around here and you don't know what the shadow campaign is, at the end of this video, as a matter of fact, if you want to, go ahead and skip to the end. Right here, there will be a link to a video I did a couple of months ago. That's the shadow campaign. Click that video, go watch it, then come back over here and finish this video, which, by the way, since I'm talking about that, if you guys could do me a big favor. They like to keep people like me in a box. People that get these stories out, that read the news to inform people. They like to keep me in a box. They don't like you being informed. So if you guys could do me a huge favor, right? I had to throw that many adjectives on top of that, I guess. Do me a favor and smash that like button for me if you don't mind. I would greatly appreciate it. It would help a lot with the algorithm. You know, when you look right below the video, you'll see I don't have many subscribers. That's not because I suck, right? Obviously, I just read the news. I do give my opinion, but I'm just reading the news trying to get people informed. But they like to keep me in a box. I don't get a lot of views because of that. So if you could, hit that like button. Engage with the video. Leave a comment. If my hair is bad or you don't like the grays in my beard, let me know down in the comments. If I have a just straight out garbage opinion, let me know. If you have any kind of help for me, as a matter of fact, as to how I can convey these news articles a little bit better and maybe get my opinion across a little bit better, let me know down in the comments, because I'm always trying to improve so I can make better and better videos. Any input would be greatly appreciated. And if you're new around here, do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. That's the best way to stay informed about what's going on in politics, about who's doing who. Not really, but what's going on. You know, we cover court cases. We cover all kinds of stuff. We cover stuff that you're not going to hear about in the mainstream, that I feel that voters, people that vote in our elections, need to know this information about our politicians. That's what I give out. That's the type of information I cover. Stuff you're not going to hear about all over the place. So do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button like really hard, like just once. But hit that like button for me. Leave a comment down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's keep going, though. Betting markets have also shifted decidedly in favor of Trump. Polymarket currently assigns him a 55.3% chance of winning compared to a 44.3% for Harris. The vice president was the race's favorite just days ago. Yeah, that was after that 60 Minutes interview dropped. Right, like she just destroyed herself in that interview. She, like, every time she does an interview, if they ask any sort of a tough question, she gives this word salad nonsense garbage that doesn't make any sense. It makes her look like she's dodging the question, and people don't like that. People are not stupid. By the way, Democrat politicians, in case I have any Democrat politicians watch this video, listen to something right quick. I'm going to give you a bit of advice. Your constituency, the people that you go out and campaign to, they're not stupid. Stop treating them like children. Tell these people the truth, and you'll get a lot more respect out of your constituents if you tell them the truth instead of lying through your freaking teeth about everything. That kind of crap really pisses me off. People want America to be strong, and there really is no comparison between what Donald Trump showed us in his 4 years and what Kamala Harris has shown us in her 4 years as vice president. And, you know, her tenure in the Senate, Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Watley said on the John Solomon Reports podcast. And so I think as people are looking at the world through that prism, it's not surprising that we're starting to see the polls kind of shifting our way. Two universes. Compared to his prior elections, Trump is in a far more favorable position at this stage in the race against former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in 2016. He trailed by 5.8% on October 10th against President Joe Biden in 2020. He trailed by 10%. But that aggregate includes a handful of polls showing either a tied race or moderate Trump lead, and a slew showing Harris with a 3 to 5% edge. There have been two universes. One, a close race with a marginal Trump edge. Two, ridiculous leads for Harris larger than Obama that are never going to happen. Posted big data poll director Rich Boris in response to an Emerson College poll showing Trump ahead in Pennsylvania. New York Times Siena pollster Nate Cohn this week outlined a key methodological divide leading to some of the apparent polling conflicts, that of waiting on recalled vote. In that method, poll asks respondents for whom they voted in 2020 and weigh those results to ensure a sample that matches the outcome of the prior election. Polls that use such a weighting method, he asserted, tend to more closely resemble 2020 election results, while those that don't seem to mirror the 2022 midterms. The New York Times Siena College poll does not weight by recalled vote. Polling paradox. While the issue of weighting by recalled vote might explain a chasm between different national polls, it would not explain the apparent disconnects between state and national data from the same outlets. Harvard Cap's Harris poll director Mark Penn, for instance, highlighted that he called a polling paradox, noting that the Times Siena poll shows Harris up 3 nationally within their margin of error, but losing to Trump by 14 in Florida. Newsflash, they can't both be right. It would be paradoxical for Harris to be up with seniors nationally and down with Floridians, he added. Florida has high concentrations of seniors and Latinos, and if Trump is winning those groups, he is sweeping PA, Nevada, and Arizona. The state polls and national polls have to be in sync, and I can't say which is right, but one or both are off base. That is right. We've seen a lot of these paradoxes in these polls, and it's been kind of crazy, right? Like, this group is up by this much. Like, with men and boys or something like that, it'll be vastly different. Like with Gen Z or blah, 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 blah. You get it. Then we'll see, like, different polls for the same regions, for the same states, the same pollster have vastly different, like they was talking about in that article. It's just been crazy. But we think, and a lot of people speculate on this constantly, that they're padding these polls, that they just have these go-to people that they go to constantly, and that's how they get Harris leading by 7 points type of garbage. That they keep going and getting in contact with the same people and asking these same people, so you're going to get the same results. And it's biased. A lot of it has a very strong Democrat bias. We know that. Like I said, you go and Google search this, and it's a simple Google search, by the way. You can go see, the actual election results versus what the polling data showed all the way up through the entire election cycle. And there's always a strong Democrat bias to all of these polls, except for Rasmussen. Rasmussen does pretty good. And right now, as a matter of fact, through this entire election cycle, Rasmussen has had Trump up the entire time. See, I like the introduction of the betting markets, because that gives you a more genuine take on what's actually going on. Because that's real people betting with real money, right? Like, it just kind of shows that people think that this is who they really think is going to win. I know I had trouble getting that out just now, but like polls, they can be skewed. I'm sorry. You could get in contact with somebody that just wants to say whatever they want to say. They could lie, in other words. But you're not going to lie when it comes to dollars, right? You're not going to bet for somebody that you don't think is going to win, because that doesn't make any sense. However, lying to a pollster people lie a lot constantly. So it's no surprise, right? And then the actual bias of the pollsters themselves, that shows in a lot of these polls. But it's really good news for Trump. And at this point, right, like, don't get it in your head that Trump's going to win so you don't have to go vote. We have to get out there and vote. We need to get as many people registered as possible, as quickly as possible, to get them to get out and go vote. We have to save our freaking country. There is a shadow campaign, folks, like I talked about earlier. Don't take for granted the shadow campaign. Democrats just have a very, very good ground game. And they can get out there and they can get to people that normally wouldn't vote. So don't be surprised if Kamala Harris gets 81 million votes just like Joe Biden did. Don't be surprised about that. So we have to get out there and get people registered, get people excited to go vote. If you live in a high concentrated area, your population is highly concentrated. And so, in other words, if you've ever gone to a polling place and had to stand in a line, get your mail-in ballot and vote by mail so you don't get, dissuaded from going to vote by standing in a line. Just screw that line, skip the line, vote by mail if you've got to. That's probably a pretty safe way to vote. That is exactly how Joe Biden won. Like I said, Democrats, they just had a better ground game. Republicans were telling people not to vote by mail, for crying out loud, because we didn't want people to vote by mail, which makes sense. We want election integrity, and if you vote by mail, that could be intercepted. It could get lost in the mail, for crying out loud. It could be, possibly thrown away, defrauded. Somebody could change that ballot, blah, blah, blah. There's so much areas for manipulation on that it's not very safe. So we want, election day to be a national holiday. People don't have to go to work. You get out there and you go vote on election day. Open up more polling places so people don't have to stand in line for hours. That type of stuff. Paper ballots. Blah, 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 blah. And if you could, hey, Tim Pool had the greatest idea ever, right? Don't put people's names on the ballot. You have to know who you're voting for. I think that would fix a whole hell of a lot of problems, right? But that would give Republicans an advantage outright, because more older folks are conservatives or Republicans. That's just normal. But that would give us an advantage. So, that may be a biased idea, but it's a good idea, because that would eliminate all the vote blue no matter who, or vote red even if you're dead. Yeah, I just made that up, I think. I don't know if somebody said that before, but that seems to be a trend as well. Vote red even if you're dead. Like, so many dead people vote is crazy, right? But, in all seriousness, Republicans have been doing a damn good job. I've been covering these news stories of, cleaning up voter rolls, finding thousands of criminal aliens on our voter rolls, or they say non-citizens, but, whatever you want to call it. Because there are people legally in this country that are not citizens, so we'll just say non-citizens. But they've been cleaning these people up off the voter rolls, which is a good thing. But it makes you ask the question right fast, how the hell did they get on the voter roll in the first place? Who registered a non-citizen to vote? Well, hang on, folks. You got places like New York and California. They let criminal aliens vote in their elections. Yeah, that's right. You're not supposed to be in this country. It doesn't matter. You can have a say in who runs the country or who runs the city or county or whatever it may be. That's like insane to me. Like, come on, I understand progressing society, like we talk about all the time, but not that far, not that fast, and I don't think we need to go in that direction. I think that's a terrible road to go down. Allowing just anybody and everybody to vote in your elections makes no sense. Now, if we had a world government, of course, that would be great, because it's a world government. Everybody should have a say. But I don't think that's feasible Not right now, at least. Maybe in the far future, when we evolve a little bit more and we can learn to settle our differences without pointing a tank at each other. That'd be great. Love to see that day. Maybe when we travel out into space, like, I watched a lot of Star Trek when I was a kid, and that type of society would be awesome. Where there's almost no crime on Earth, ever. Nobody lives in poverty anymore. That's the communist dream, as a matter of fact. But, hey, if you can get to that utopia without leaving piles and piles of dead bodies, I'm right there with you, to be honest with you. If you can figure out a way to get there without killing a bunch of people that don't want to comply with your stupid rules. Hey, utopias are nice, regardless if it's a communist or not. If it's a freaking utopia and everybody is rich instead of everybody being poor as hell, which is generally what happens with communism. China is an outlier because they're not really fully communist. They've got a capitalist market. That's the only way they're doing it any close to as well as they are. But they should be the lone superpower in this world. Should be. They've got a huge population. India as well. But China has the biggest population, I believe. So they should outpower us by a lot. I mean, for God's sakes. I think they have 1.3 billion citizens in China, and we only have the 0.3 billion. Yeah. They got 1 billion more people. Their productivity should be at least that much more. I was about to say 1 billion times more, but no, it's not 1 billion. It's only like 3 times as much, 3 or 4 times as much, something like that. Their output should be a lot higher than what it is. That's because people are scared. They're living under communist dictatorship, regardless of what Xi Jinping says. That's a dictatorship if I've ever seen one. You don't have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of expression. Their culture is totally different, though, but I'm rambling at this point. So, yeah, I'm going to end it here, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. That's all I got. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.